The world outside never stops moving. Traffic hums, notifications blink, conversations overlap. Everyone seems to be chasing somewhere to be, someone to meet, something to show. Yet, in the middle of all that motion, there are people who feel most alive in stillness. The quiet glow of a lamp, the hum of a kettle, a playlist looping softly in the background. Society calls them homebodies, sometimes with affection, sometimes with quiet judgment. You should go out more, they hear. Don't you get bored? But for them, staying home isn't boredom, it's balance. It's a way of existing that feels more honest than constant motion. Because for some, the calm of their own space isn't avoidance, it's alignment. They don't need noise to feel connected, or crowds to feel alive. So why do some people love staying home? Not out of laziness, but peace. Psychology has an answer, and it runs deeper than comfort. People who love staying home are often misunderstood. They're called antisocial, boring, unmotivated, sometimes even lazy. But psychology suggests otherwise. What looks like disinterest in the outside world often reflects something far more thoughtful, an inner alignment between comfort and consciousness. For some, staying home isn't a rejection of life, it's a quiet declaration of autonomy, a choice to control the space, energy, and pace around them. Within their walls, they decide what enters their world and what doesn't. There's also a concept called self-concordant motivation, when your actions naturally align with your inner values. For home lovers, comfort isn't indulgence, it's congruence. Their peace comes from doing what feels true to who they are, not what's expected of them. So while the world measures productivity by movement, these individuals find meaning in stillness, and there's a science and a psychology behind that calm. For many people who love staying home, the attachment isn't just about comfort, it's about safety. When the world outside feels unpredictable, home becomes a space where the nervous system can finally exhale. Psychologists call this neuroception, the brain's subconscious ability to detect safety or threat, even without logical thought. For someone who grew up in a loud, chaotic, or emotionally unstable environment, the body learns to stay alert, scanning every sound, every shift in tone. Reflective, peace begins to feel unfamiliar, even unsafe. So when they find a place where nothing startles, where silence doesn't hide tension, the body begins to trust again. That's what home becomes, a sanctuary for regulation. They're not hiding from the world, they're teaching their nervous system what calm feels like. In that quiet space, the heart slows, the breath deepens, and the mind remembers what safety once felt like. Home is more than a physical place, it's an ecosystem of control. The lighting, the sounds, the timing of things, all subtle cues that regulate how the mind feels. Within their own walls, people who love staying home can set the tone of their day with precision. No interruptions, no sudden shifts, just a rhythm that belongs entirely to them. Psychologists call this sense of ownership the locus of control, the degree to which a person believes they have power over their environment. Those with a strong internal locus don't wait for the world to give them peace, they create it. Home allows them to do just that, to reclaim time, energy, and emotional space on their own terms. It's not isolation, it's self-sovereignty. While others chase calm through vacations or escapes, homebodies have learned to cultivate it daily, in the quiet power of choosing their own pace. For introverts, solitude isn't a preference, it's a physiological necessity. Carl Jung described introversion as an inward flow of energy. Every social interaction, no matter how pleasant, draws from that internal battery. And when it runs low, the body and mind crave restoration through stillness. Home becomes the ideal space for that recharge. It's where noise fades and inner clarity returns. Within its walls, they can think deeply, feel without interruption, and breathe without performing. To the outside world, it might look like withdrawal, but for them, it's preservation. They're not avoiding people, they're protecting their energy, choosing where to invest it, and when. Their comfort in solitude doesn't come from indifference, but awareness. They understand that to show up meaningfully in the world, they first need to retreat, not to disappear, but to restore what makes them whole again. For some, home isn't just a shelter, it's a studio for the soul. Within those walls, Imagination breathes freely. Time slows down just enough for thoughts to take shape, for ideas to unfold without interruption. Psychologists call this state flow, the deep absorption that happens when your mind is so immersed in creation that hours pass unnoticed. Whether it's painting, journaling, coding, composing, or simply rearranging the small corners of their world, these moments of solitude unlock something sacred, the ability to feel fully present. To an outsider, their stillness might look like inactivity, but their silence is not emptiness. It's full of invisible movement. It's where the unseen parts of themselves come alive, where imagination and introspection coexist. For them, home isn't a retreat from life. It's where life expands inward. Loving the quiet of home can also be a sign of emotional maturity. At some point, many realize that peace is more valuable than constant connection, that not every invitation deserves a yes, and not every silence needs to be filled. This awareness reflects what psychologists call self-boundary awareness, the ability to protect one's emotional energy without guilt. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The home becomes a symbolic boundary, a space that honors where they end and the world begins. Some stay home not because they fear the world, but because they finally love their own company. They've learned that solitude can be soft, restorative, and deeply human. Hopeful, and maybe that's the quiet truth behind so many closed doors at night. Not loneliness, but healing. A peace chosen consciously, one quiet evening at a time. It's easy to mistake solitude for loneliness, but for many who love staying home, the choice is not about isolation, it's about alignment. Homebodies aren't antisocial, they're emotionally intelligent. They've learned to listen to what their body and mind need, rather than what the culture demands. In a world addicted to stimulation, their calm becomes a quiet rebellion. While the outside world runs on dopamine, the chemical of novelty, rush, and reward, the home nurtures serotonin, the chemistry of stability and peace. It's the difference between chasing happiness and feeling it. One burns quickly, the other sustains. Choosing to stay home, then, isn't a withdrawal from life, it's a return to balance. A way of aligning with one's nervous system, with the pace that feels natural, rather than performative. Maybe that's what your soul is saying when you cancel plans without guilt. When you light a candle, instead of chasing noise, I'm safe now. Hopeful, and perhaps that safety, that quiet inner alignment, is the most profound form of freedom there is. When was the last time you truly felt at peace in your own space? Not distracted, not scrolling, just present. The kind of quiet where you can hear yourself think. Do you stay home to hide, or because you've finally stopped running? There's a difference. One comes from fear, the other from healing. Sometimes the four walls around you are not barriers, but mirrors. They reflect who you've become when no one's watching, what calms you, what drains you, what still needs tending inside. Maybe your love for home isn't about avoiding the world. Maybe it's about creating a world that feels safe enough to exist in. Hope for home is never just a place. It's a state of nervous system peace, a landscape of your inner life. And maybe loving your home is just your way of finally coming home to yourself. People who love staying home aren't missing out on life. They're simply living it at a different frequency, one that's slower, softer, more attuned to what really matters. Because not all joy is loud. Not all connection requires a crowd. Sometimes the deepest peace is found in the quiet rituals of your own space. A cup of tea, a playlist that knows you, the comfort of stillness. Home is where your nervous system exhales. It's where masks fall away, where energy resets, where you remember that you are enough, even in silence. So if this made you rethink solitude, subscribe. We explore the psychology of peace, one story at a time. And if you've ever felt guilty for loving your own company, you don't need to anymore. Because peace doesn't need permission. It just needs a place to land.